Greetings, everyone. This is a presentation courtesy of Kent County Newspaper. Recently, there was an event that happened in a small city in Kent County, Maryland. Chestertown, Maryland was the city name, and it was an event that is usually celebrated annually called the Legacy Day. So what I want you to see is that some disturbing things happened in the Kent County News. It says here, Chestertown, the 13th annual Legacy Day weekend sponsored by Sumner Hall concluded Sunday at Emmanuel Episcopal Church with former White House staffer Jason Green and reading his memoirs, Too Precious to Lose, followed by a champagne reception. Okay. So as we go to this reception, they're not going to show it here on this particular page. So the next article on their Facebook page, you see here, says Chestertown police and members of Chestertown's Black community agree they want mutual respect and safe neighborhoods, but they remain divided over whether the law enforcement response to an August 15th block party on Calvert Street was necessary, right? So now, this is something that is consistently happens at the end of Legacy Day. People congregate on this same street where the club was. Some were present when the club was open, some are generations afterwards. Now, which leads me to this video here. So what you see on the screen is there is a squad car and some lights. I don't know when it got there, if it got there afterwards, if there was a phone call made or whatever the case might be. But what I want to add before I play the video is that in prior years, there were no white residents on the street. Since then, there are at least 2 white people that live on the street. Now, it may be possible that the white person felt uncomfortable. They may be the one that called the police. I think that's the case, but I don't know for sure. I'm just guessing. So here is the first video. Okay, so I don't want to keep playing it back and forth, but matter of fact, I'll play it while I'm talking. I just turn the microphone up down. So basically, what you see here is you see people walking down the street, right? You see one squad car that's there. Okay, all right. People's walking. Nobody's fighting. There's no violence going on. Nobody's shooting anybody. It's a small country town in Kent County, Maryland. There's no violence. The crime is very at a minimum. Okay, but the police came with his lights. Okay, let's go to the next one. This second video I'm going to show you is now we are going to see a little more police presence, and we see this police vehicle coming down the street. Okay, let me put my volume back up.
All persons found to abide in this verse will be arrested and charged with all applicable Maryland charges. You may know this town code. You are ordered to disperse immediately. All persons found to abide in this verse will be arrested and charged with all applicable Maryland charges. You may You are ordered to disperse immediately. All persons found to abide in this verse will be arrested and charged with all applicable Maryland charges. You may
All persons are ordered, down code something, but all persons are ordered to disperse immediately. And then he said what?
All persons found to abide in this verse will be arrested and charged with all applicable Maryland charges.
So they're ordering people to disperse. Now, there's no fighting going on. There's nothing going on that we can see. Someone probably called the police. They're ordering the people who generally congregate. And I'm not a fan of that because I don't congregate there. But there are young people congregating there, fellowshipping at the end of the Legacy Day at the location where the club is. So he's ordering them or they're going to be arrested.
You may down code, and you are ordered to disperse immediately. All persons found to abide and disperse will be arrested and charged with all applicable Maryland charges. You may
Now, what I want to add is that you don't see it on the video, but there's a church on the corner, right, probably behind this. So this block is not a block that is a problem. It's just a block where majority of black people live. You go further up the street, there is a housing where low-income housing, which is across from the church. Okay, let's go to the next video. Now, this last video here is the people are actually shocked at what was going on because this had never happened before on the street where the Legacy Day is celebrated. They've always gathered on this street, right? Nobody's called the police and had them be removed. So somebody called the police, and here's what the people are saying.
I've never seen this before.
They closed that door, look at it.
Oh my God. I've never seen this before.
They closed that door, look at it.
Oh my God.
Okay, so as you can see, the police started coming through with their vehicles to intimidate and to enforce people to get off the street. Was there any cause for this? Was somebody arrested? What was going on here? Why was there a need for them to order people to leave the street? Knowing that this was a celebration Legacy Day, that they always congregated on the street where the club that we just showed you, the historical club, sat. People congregated on there as a, I guess, as a memory of the club on that one night. Now, had it been an off night where there was nothing special going on, would it have been a concern that a bunch of people are gathering on the streets? Maybe. I would be concerned myself. But this was at closing of the event. It was nothing unusual that happened. These people always congregated on this street. If there was a problem before, why didn't they say anything before? Okay, what's the problem this time? I'm telling you what the problem is. White people had just moved into the neighborhood. And my guess is that someone white called the police because they were uncomfortable seeing all those black people at one time in one place without a police presence. Now, here is a comment from a YouTube user. I'm not going to go into that because the person's not relevant. It's what they're saying is what I want to target. It says, Chestertown taxpayers deserve answers. A nonviolent block party, it wasn't necessarily a block party. It was just there was no food or nothing like that. People just gathering, congregating, fellowshipping at the end of the Legacy Day. A nonviolent block party appeared to draw roughly 30 plus officers, which we didn't see the number. We just saw the parade, but there are other videos circulating around. 2 armored vehicles and 2 police buses. What did this response cost? And what emergency justified this level of force and equipment? How many other 911 calls occurred that day and night, and whether these resources could have been needed for an actual emergency? Are our police and commanders trained to distinguish between a nonviolent gathering and a real emergency? The community has every right to question whether race or unequal policing played a role. Release the records, explain the response, and tell taxpayers exactly what it cost. Should this level of force be called in when there is no real emergency, Or are we just playing around? Who were the police buses there to lock up? Who were the tankers there to attack? How much did this cost? How many 9/11 calls came in? Right is right and wrong is wrong. Okay? And I agree with that. Now I'm going to add my little piece in here. Okay? So what I think happened here, brothers and sisters, is this. They came with the intentions of somebody giving them a reason to arrest people. Even though no one did anything that was worthy of being arrested, it was an intimidation to get people to retaliate so they could say you're resisting arrest, and then they can harass people or hurt people, harm people, and even possibly kill somebody. That's what I believe the intentions was. That's why they brought all of those armored vehicles and all the police presence. They was looking to do harm to innocent people who were just gathering at an event. When you look and you see all these black people that's just walking down the street, in the street, that's just a handful. That's not even as many as I've seen in other videos. But that's a handful that you can see there present. They thought they was going to have somebody to be a fool and challenge the police so they can pull out their sticks, their guns, and everything else and harass people. So this is what we have come to. Now, I want to close with this here. This is the police, chief police response to the event. He says, as chief of the Chestertown Police Department, I stand behind our response to the community party held on the 400 block of Calvert Street on 8/15/2026. I believe it is important that some information is clarified. The permit for the party was obtained at 3 p.m. the day prior to the event. So they had a permit, okay. Organizers specifically requested a time frame of 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. Organizers were cooperative and helpful throughout the event. The event was in no way connected to the Legacy Day weekend celebration put together by Sumner Hall. Okay. An overwhelming majority of attendees were completely cooperative and respectful. Many attendees were from outside of Kent County. The few issues that did occur during the evening involved disruptive juveniles as the party was dispersing. As a result of cooperation of all involved, only a single adult arrest is pending, which followed a disturbance at High Street and Dixon Valve after the party. Additionally, a disorderly juvenile was arrested after a disturbance in the Calvert Heights apartment complex around midnight, not directly related to the block party. Okay, let's be clear. Hundreds of people, only 2 arrests, and many positive interactions with the public. Past events in this era have included violence, unruly crowds, and damage to property. Okay. That's opinionated. Where's the facts on that? Okay. Additionally, similar block parties in nearby Caroline and Dorchester counties over the past 6 weeks have involved gunfire, during which an individual was struck by a bullet, as were several structures and vehicles. So the two are not related. So what's your point there, Mr. Chief? The weekend had several events previously planned, including the Legacy Day celebration downtown and the smaller gatherings in Wilmer Park, a Wilmer party sponsored by Kent County Public Library to ensure the safety and security of everyone over the weekend. And out of an abundance of caution, a plan was developed to obtain the resources that could potentially be necessary, which included a response from the Maryland State Police, Queen Anne's County Sheriff Office, and Kent County Sheriff Office. In addition, the patrol personnel from MSP, a team from their Special Operations Division mobile field, force was brought in and was on standby throughout the event. How about that? Stand by. Stand by. Have we heard that before? Stand by. Stand back. Stand by. That team was staged in a remote location and was not brought in until 30 minutes after the event ended. We did not start walking the streets to gain compliance with dispersal until 45 minutes after the permit had expired. No force whatsoever was used to move the crowd. Well, the force wasn't used because the people knew what you was trying to do. By 10:30, nearly everyone had left the area, including the Allied police agency that came to assist. Not everyone will agree with the way we handled this matter, and that is understandable. At the end of the day, it is my responsibility to ensure the safety of everyone in Chestertown, a responsibility that I have taken seriously for the past 5 years. We have worked to build a positive relationship with our entire community and will not take steps in reverse. I welcome public feedback, both positive and negative. As always, I look forward to working together to build stronger and safer Chestertown, and I am forever grateful for the opportunity to lead your police department. Respectful, Ronald N. Dixon, Chief of the Police. Okay, so that's his response. Now, he already knows that people are going to disagree with that. Okay, so if he's been the chief of police for 5 years, why all of a sudden is it necessary? Are you going to compare what's happening in other places for you to have forces to stand by in a small city where the crime rate is at minimum? So here, the web guide, this is, I'm not sure who it's courtesy of, but it says here, Chestertown safety reports vary by source, with some noting a lower overall crime rate that sits at 2% below the national average, while other data estimates a total rate of 44.67 per 1,000 residents. Depending on the specific metric tracked, your yearly chance of encountering a local crime ranges from 1 in 439 for violent offenses and 1 in 54 for property crimes. Though total incidents recently rose up by 39.3% year over year. So a question I would ask too is that who are committing these crimes? Is it the black people of Chestertown committing these crimes? It says that 2% below, and this one here says that it rose by 39%. So who are committing these crimes? What is the population? What are the demographics in Chestertown? Here we see here, it says here, the web guide says Chestertown, Maryland has a population of approximately 5,500 to 5,700 residents, a median age of roughly 32.6 years, and a median household income between $46,000 and $54,000. The town's racial demographics are predominantly white. Let me say that again. The town's racial demographics are predominantly white, at roughly 67 to 69%, followed by a black or African American population of about 21% to 22%, and smaller Asian and Hispanic communities, right? So it says the official estimates record 5,568 residents for 2025, while 2020 census detailed 5,532 residents with a 37.9 median age. Okay. Here's data from the United States Census. It says here that, let's look at the numbers here. So race and Hispanic origin, white alone percent, 71% of Chestertown. Black alone, 22%, right? So when you look at the population, right, it's uneven. So then why was there need for Mr. Chief to have an order to place for probably the whole population of Chestertown was on that street? Now let's do a little math here, okay? If the population is 5,658, And they're saying that the black population is 22.1. So let's multiply that by 22.1%. So that's 0.221 of the population, right? So 20% of 5,000, 10% would be 565. So twice that would be a little over 1,000, right? So out of the 5,000 people that's in the population, a little over 1,000 are the black population in the city. Okay, now, everybody that's in the city are not juveniles or youth. You have a lot of seniors that live there. So my guess is that primarily the people that lived in Chestertown, the blacks that lived in Chestertown, were represented on that block. So you had probably maybe 500 people or less. Maybe I would just narrow it down to maybe about 200 people on the block. Okay. So this person here said, so if people cannot be outside past a certain time in their own community, so y'all bring a SWAT with multiple charter buses. Okay, some explicit. I only seen on TV while no crime is being committed. True. They wanted it to be issued. So next year, if they get all their proper permits, will this happen again? Yeah, it will. It will. Okay, I'm going to close with this here. I don't want to make this too much longer because I can do a historical presentation to tell you that Chestertown is a historical area. There were a lot of prominent black people that came through Chestertown. And this piece right here says, historic Chestertown prominent African-American figures include the highly successful 19th century grocer, butcher, and church founder, James A. Jones. Restaurant William Perkins, and early 20th century restaurant owner Abraham Robinson, local club owner Charlie Graves, they spelled that wrong. In town, deep history is also preserved through legacies of residents Levi Rogers and modern heritage documentarians like Karen Somerville. In addition to that, I want to add that Kent County has a legacy of landowners, of farmed landowners that lost their land due to all different types of legalities, right? There were a lot of black farmers in Kent County, a lot of landowners. As a matter of fact, in my family, I have a history of landowners and real estate persons that sell. Okay, so is it that someone has a resentment towards the black population there that has arisen to power? You know, in the Bible it says there arose a king that knew not Joseph. Okay, so what do you think about that? Okay, I'm going to close this out here, and I'm going to say this: is it necessary? So for those that may be viewing this after the fact, let me blow this up here. Want nobody's information out there. There is going to be a community call to action, and this is scheduled to be on this coming Wednesday, August 26th, second floor, sponsored by John Munson. And he's going to have guests, the mayor, Eflin, and Andrew D'Amata, the 3rd Ward District Councilman. They will have an open crowd discussion with questions, answers, and solutions pertaining to issues in the communities. So if you're available, attend that event and show your presence, make your voice be heard. And this is all I wanted to share, and we'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.